Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about John Steinbeck's The Pearl, written in 1947, published in 1947. I really enjoyed this book, as some of you may know from my top 10 favorite books of all time video, whatever. I mentioned that at that time I had only read The Grapes of Wrath, and it was already one of my favorite books, and Steinbeck was already one of my favorite authors. And again, I was right. I have a couple of things to say about Steinbeck, but first let me just tell you a little bit about the story. So the story follows a couple, Kino and Juana, and their son Coyotito. He's 1 year old. And because of a scorpion and someone gets bit in the shoulder, Kino dives into the ocean to find some pearls in oysters to see if he can sell them and get some money. Of course, I know who got bit, by the way. I'm just trying not to spoil anything. Get some money for a cure, for treatment. And he finds this big pearl. They call it the pearl of the world, I think, or the great pearl. And he wants to sell it to get some treatment, obviously, for the person in need, but also to I'm wearing a blanket because it's really cold, but also to get married with Juana, because they're not married, to get a better house because they live in the poor part of town. So they there's a big and very deep class separation in this book. Is very visible, and they want to get a better life, and they also want to send their kid to school so the kid can learn how to read and write, because none of them do. And that's all very noble and beautiful, but obviously when you find yourself with something that's going to get you a lot of power and money, you might get just a little bit crazy, and that's what happens. So you see this transformation. Besides getting a lot of enemies in like an evening, he says everybody hates him because he's gonna be living the good life and they won't. The fact that he has the pearl, and the fact that he knows the pearl is worth a lot, and no one wants to pay the right amount. They try to scam him. He says he's going to the capital to see if someone can be honest enough to sell, to buy the pearl for the fair price, at a fair price. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't have anything yet, and he's already going crazy with greed, with wanting more, to the fact that he's more powerful than others, and the pearl is everything to him, and he became the pearl. And that transformation is very, very obvious, because you can actually see him turning into an animal. So he starts the novel as a man, a very honest, humble man, human being, and he ends up a beast, an irrational animal who would do anything in his power to just keep the pearl. At some point, I actually believe that he doesn't want the money anymore. He just wants to keep the pearl. He just wants the pearl. He thinks the pearl is his life. Like, he lives for the pearl now. And there's a part where that transformation that I was talking about, it's very present. Is towards the end, he tries to attack these bounty hunters who are looking for them, and in order to do it, because it's already dark, it's in the evening, but the moon is very high and bright, and he's scared that the moonlight is going to reflect on his white clothes, so he decides to take the clothes off. And he almost like gets down on his knuckles, and he just jumps through, between rocks until he gets to the man that he wants to attack first, because he's the one holding a rifle. And the way Steinbeck describes his movements, the way his body just dances with the moonlight, and it's just he appears and he disappears, and it's very animalistic. I think it's a wonderful example of how power and even just the idea of power, the idea that you are more powerful than others, but you're really not, because you don't have anything to show for it. You have a pearl, but you need to sell it to get the money to do something. Otherwise, you only have a pearl. It's very visible, and it's so real, because that could happen to you. That could happen to anyone. The going mad with power because of greed, because you know that you have something in your possession it's better than everything else combined. You live for that now. And when that happens, obviously you see that transformation happening as well. And I believe we've read stories about people who just went crazy with money, and they stole stuff, or they scammed people because they wanted more money even though they were already filthy rich. And you wonder why would he scam all of those people? Why would he I don't know, why would he do that for more money if he already has tons? Well, because he wants more and more and more, and it never ends. And it's what you can see in this book, and it's so really makes the story come alive. And what I wanted to talk to you about Steinbeck is that I've watched some videos on BookTube of people saying that they don't like Steinbeck because first he describes a lot of stuff. He uses description a lot. I don't know about you, but I kind of live for visual imagery. I live for it. It's what makes the story come alive. It's what separates a bad work of fiction from a good work of fiction. Because if you can take a fictional, this is fiction, this is a fictional story, and if you can take this and make it real with just words, that's it. You're a genius. He's a genius. And I think when the book lacks description, when the book kind of makes you do the work, it's not as a good book as it could be. So it could be a better book. I also think that people always say that Steinbeck is oppressive and he uses very dark themes and stories. The characters are always going through some major issues, and you finish the story and you say, I'm glad that's not me. And yeah, I finish a Steinbeck book and I always say that I'm glad that's not me. But I think the fact that it's not that he's oppressive, he's realistic. Life is not just flowers and rainbows, and sometimes we need books like this, like The Pearl, like The Grapes of Wrath, like Of Mice and Men, which I'm reading now, to kind of make you stop for a while and think about stuff deeply and realize that, these stories, even though they're fiction, they could happen. They're very real, and this for me is a psychological thriller. I mean, you can see him going mad. It's not just you can understand it by reading the book, you can see it in front of your own eyes that he's going completely mad. And there is actually a passage where his wife Juana says that he says that he's going to move mountains, but she knows that the mountains are not going to move. What? So she knows that he's going crazy, but at the same time she knows the world is not going to change or submit to his will. So she doesn't do anything. She just stands by his side, which is very noble. But at the same time, couldn't you have said something? How many stories do we hear like that the people knew the others were going mad, the people knew they were doing something wrong and they didn't do anything because they said, well, reality is gonna bite you in the ass. And you said, yeah, but couldn't you have done something? Yeah, but he had to learn on his own. Maybe she could have done something. And you also think, if I were Juana, would I have done something? I don't know. I like to think that I would have done something and stopped my partner from going mad and becoming an animal, but at the same time, maybe she thought about it too. And when she was confronted with the situation, she figured, well, I could do something, but life is going to teach him. I don't know, I think it makes you think about stuff, but it also makes you think about what you would do in certain situations. And it makes you think a bit more, deeply about yourself and to know more about yourself. And I think that's very important. So that's why I like Steinbeck. I think it's an amazing book. I think his words are just there. His language is not complicated at all, but it's precise. And I don't know a lot of authors that can do that. So, you can read this in a day. So just give it a shot. Let me know if you enjoyed The Pearl or any book by Steinbeck. And don't say stuff like, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I don't get it. Don't say stuff like, I will never read Steinbeck because I already hate him. You can't hate something if you don't know. You can't hate someone if you don't know the person, right? In this case, you will not get to talk to Steinbeck, unfortunately, but you can read his work, and then you can say that, okay, I read it, I gave it a shot, I don't like it, fine. But don't say that before. Don't say that you'll never read Steinbeck because you hate him. Well, if you've never read it, maybe we'll actually love it. I don't know. That's just the way I think. I think some people are just traumatized because I know that Of Mice and Men, especially, is a book that some people study in high school. I've never read Steinbeck in high school or at university, so I was really sad about that. Now that I know and I love him, I was really sad about it. But I know that some books can traumatize you, especially if the teacher, the professor, they didn't know how to use the book in class or something like that. But still, try to put that away and give it a shot, because one of my favorite things is to combine fiction with history and historical context, and just see where the author got his inspiration from. In this case, so The Grapes of Wrath, really because of the Dust Bowl and everything, like the Great Depression and everything that was happening in America at that time. And The Pearl, I read that he got inspired because he knew about this place in Mexico, which is La Paz, where the story is set. And he knew that it was a pearl-rich region, and it had like a lot of pearl buyers, and people would that would be their jobs to find pearls, to sell them, get money for food. And he got inspired from that. Actually, The Pearl was supposed to be a movie script, and I would watch this movie. I would really watch it. I don't know if there's a movie out there based on The Pearl, but I'm gonna look for it, and if there is, I will totally watch it. Okay guys, so I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I think I'm only going to film something like after Christmas, and I hope you're enjoying your winter break. I know that a lot of people have their exams and presentations and essays and whatever all before the break. Here in Portugal, you have them all after the break, so no break. We spend our break studying. That's why we don't have any dead week or revision week or whatever. I already got some one final score back, was really happy about it. And today I got a test score back, but I still need to do an essay in January. So but I was also very happy with the test results. So yeah, I hope you enjoy Christmas. I hope you enjoy your time with your families, get presents, eat a lot, and just have an overall good time. And I will see you on my next video. Bye.